Alright, everyone. This episode today on s10 Garage is getting the headers bolted. Alright, Mr. s10 himself here. Out here trying to get some shit done, and like the beginning is, it's about doing the headers today. I'm going to start off with the driver's side because it's a little bit more of a pain in the ass for the S10 side because the headers go through the steering shaft and all that shit, and it's a little bit more, I guess you could say, time consuming. So yeah, you can see I got a modified shaft already because my headers, my primaries are pretty big on it for being shorty headers, but I already got it all disconnected from the steering. So yeah, let's get busy. Alright, got my shorties. They are a big primary tube. I mean, they don't look the greatest, but I had to do a little bit of massage in here because, like I've been said, they are a big primary header. They're 1 7/8, so they are a Sanders header, shorty header, which, I mean, I've had these headers for a while now, so even though being a shorty, these headers do flow good. They are dirty. I mean, hell, this truck's been sitting for a year, so I just tried to kind of wipe them down and everything else. And, yeah, time to get busy. I do use a reusable gasket, and I mean, you could tell that this thing's been reused and used, but I've had these header gaskets for about 4 years now, and I've never once ever had to replace these. They are reusable, so I mean they're a multi-layer header gasket. So yeah, that being said, it's time to get busy. Gonna put like I said, this one is a pain in the ass on this side because you gotta get it through that. Yeah. One of these days I'll get the full-length headers done, and those are going to be fender exit headers. So I'm going to figure out, see how this truck likes it. All my stuff's just sitting on it to kind of keep everything from not getting shit in it. Try and get these two started. Slide the gasket in there. Bam, 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 bam. Thank you, ma'am. Alright, driver's side is in. You can see that, I mean, my shaft, steering shaft is still pretty close to these headers. I kind of wish that this primary tube went up over these and then dropped back down like the newer style headers are. But otherwise, I mean, for being a 1 7/8 primary, a big tube primary header, for a shorty header, because I mean they are a shorty header. They drop off right there, so they do the job. All right. Like I said, like you're saying, driver's side's in. On the header. The driver's side is the hardest, so I usually start with the hardest, get it knocked out, get it done first, so then you just go to the passenger side. Passenger side's cake work, I mean, but honestly, you've seen the little modifications that I had to do onto the steering shaft and the header. I mean, the header, just ball peen hammer and kind of beat it in just a little bit, kind of smooth it back out. I actually ended up doing on this one, I actually ended up heating up the primary and with a torch, and to kind of, I guess, make it look a little bit better. And then kind of heat it up and then kind of form it in, everything else. But otherwise, that's all I had to do. That being said, now it's off to do the other side. Oh, alright. Getting ready to do the passenger side now. And a little bit of info on these. Like I said, they're 1 7/8 headers, primaries. But the thing is the collector. The collector here is a 3-inch collector for a shorty header. So it's a pretty big collector. I mean, most of them are 2.5 inch, and like standard V8 swap headers are 1 5/8 primaries, and these being 1 7/8 3-inch collector. I mean, it's the clearance is little. I mean, you gotta do a little bit of modification for these headers, but anyway, I had to notch the frame out right back here. Don't mind the wires here, because I am going to, once I get the doghouse and everything on here, it's all going to be tucked and everything else, and hidden to the best that I can do. So this being said, it's time to get the header on. Alright, so passenger side is done. Like I said, don't mind the wires and all that shit, because I'll be getting those cleaned back up as soon as I get the doghouse back on here. So passenger side and driver's side are done. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, the headers and starter are in, and got the starter all wired up, everything else. I'm going to talk about these headers real quick, because these just ain't your average V8 swap headers. Like I did say, they are a Sanders. They are a shorty header. They are a 1 7/8 primary with a 3-inch collector, and they are a little tight fitting. Let me take that back. They are a lot tight fitting. There are some modifications that you've got to do to run these style headers, and here soon the other headers, they will be, that's gonna be another video. But anyway, these headers, they're a little hard. And alright, so right here, the collector, it's my frame right here, it's notched out just to fit the exhaust to come through here because of being a 3-inch collector. So, which you can sit there and right there, Sanderson. So anyway, but like these headers here, you do have to do a little bit of modification to them to get them to work. Alright, so if you're looking for a V8 swap header for an S10, I would not recommend these with the modifications that you have to do. But if you need some air breathing through, and you don't mind a little bit of modification, sure, why not? But anyway, yeah. So, on another video is when the headers are going to be done, or started technically. We're going to have some nice step headers. So, they're going to be from 1 7/8 to 2-inch primaries. They're going to come up from right here, come up this way, come out. I'm going to have some firewall modifications. I'm going to cut the firewall out here, come out, take all this out, and then once we cut all this out and everything else, then I'm going to reform it, and then but the headers are going to come out right here. So all this is going to be taken out here. So yeah, those are going to be new headers. Hopefully they'll be out in next year, next spring-ish. So I'm going to do still those headers. Might have to cut a hole in my fenders. So I'm going to still do 2 headers. I'm going to still use these shorties with the, because I got an X pipe on my truck. Well, it ain't on it now, but it does have an X pipe and mufflers and all that shit. Because I still do drive it, but when I'm racing, I'll have the other headers and shit on it. So unless I have to use exhaust for some event, so then it's gonna be street truck time. But anyway, AC didn't keep up today, so I'm gonna pack up and I'm gonna head home and jump in the pool, crack me open a cold beer, and call it a day, because I'm hot. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hopefully I didn't bore you guys too much, and like and subscribe and share. I surely do appreciate it. You guys have a good night.
Bye.